I hope all of you are doing good. Let's start today's chapter, ratio and proportion. Ratio. Ratio is a comparison of two or more quantities of the same kind. If two quantities of the same kind, A and B, are in the same units, then the fraction A by B is called the ratio of A to B. Thus, the ratio of A to B is A by B, or simply implies A is to B. This is read as is to B, right? The term A is called the first term, or we can say antecedent, okay, about which you already know. And B term is called the second term or consequent, right? So in forming ratios, we must consider the following things. Number one, the order of the terms of ratios is important. That is, A is to B is not the same as B is to A, right? Or 3 is to 4 is not same or not equals to as 4 is to 3, right? Number two, ratio exists only between two quantities of the same kind. For example, there cannot be any ratio between days of the year and number of students in class 7. Also, there cannot be any ratio between rupees 100 and 150 kg, because both the units are different. Number three, a ratio is a pure number and has no unit. For example, the ratio between 250 grams and 1 kilogram is what? First, you will convert 1 kilogram into gram, and then you will find the ratio, which is 1:4. And number four, a ratio must always be expressed in its lowest terms, right? To convert a fractional ratio into a whole number ratio, when the terms of the ratio are in fractions, we convert them into whole number ratios by multiplying them with the LCM of their denominators. For example, we have to convert the following ratios into whole numbers. 1/3 is to 1/2. So, LCM of denominators, that is 3 and 2 is what? LCM is 6, right? So, here LCM of denominator is 6. Now, multiply the term with 6. That is 1/3 into 6. What will we get? We will get a 2. Then multiply this by 6. What will we get? 2. So, 2 is to 3 is the ratio, right? Next, increase or decrease in a ratio. Suppose that the price of an article has increased from rupees 8 to rupees 9. We say that the price has increased in the ratio 8 is to 9. Similarly, if the price of an article has decreased from rupees 9 to rupees 8, the ratio is 9 is to 8. So, the new price in the case of increase is 9/8 of the original price, and the new price in the case of decrease is 8/9 of the original price. We shall further explain the concept of ratios with the following examples. Okay. So, examples are given here. We have to simplify the following ratios. 1/4 ratio 2/1/3. Okay. So, first we will convert them into improper fraction. Okay. 7/3. Now, we will find the LCM. LCM of 4 and 3 is what? 12. Okay. So, let's multiply this fraction by 12. Ratio 15. 7/3 into 12, 28. Okay, so the ratio is 15 is to 28, right? Exercise 8.1. Express the following ratios in the simplest form. 1:3 is to 1/4. Okay, so first what will you do? Take LCM of 3 and 4. LCM is what? 12. 1/3 into 12, 4, okay, 1/4 into 12, 3, 4 is to 3. These are already in simplest form, okay. Proportion. If two ratios are equal, then they form a proportion. The spore quantities A, B, C and D are said to be in proportion if A is to B is equals to C is to D. The quantities A, B, C and D are of the same kind and are in the same units. Then A by B is equals to C by D and AD is equals to BC. Or you can also write it as A is to B such that C is to D, right? So, your first and fourth terms are called extreme, means this and this terms. These two terms are called extremes, and these two middle terms are called means, right? If A is to B is equals to C is to D, then D is called the fourth proportion. Also, product of extremes is equals to product of means, okay, about which you have also studied in previous class also. So this is often called as cross product rule. Thus in proportion A is to B is equals to C is to D, or AD is equals to BC. To represent a proportion, we can either put the sign of equal or put a double colon, okay, between the ratios. In the above case, if AD is not equals to BC, then A, B, C, D are not in proportion, okay. Continued proportion. These three quantities A, B, C are said to be in continued proportion if the ratios between the first and second is equal to the ratio between the second and a third. That is, if A, B and C are in continued proportion, then A by B is equals to B by C. Here A is the first proportional, C is the third proportional, and B is called the mean proportion. Now we shall consider some examples to further explain the concept of proportion. Example, we have to find if 4, 5, 12 and 15 are in proportion. Okay, so 4, 5, 12 and 15. First we will find the product of extremes. Product of extremes is what? 4 into 15, that is 60. Now find the product of means. Product of means is equals to 5 into 12, that is 60. So both are equal, that means these are in proportion, right? Exercise 6.8.2. Check if the following quantities are in proportion, okay? 1 by 2, 1 by 3, 1 by 4, 1 by 5. We have to check whether these are in proportion or not. First, we will find the product of extremes, okay, is 1 by 2 into 1 by 5, that is 1 by 10, okay. Now find the product of means. Product of means is equals to 1 by 3 into 1 by 4, that is 1 by 12, okay. These are not equal, that means these quantities are not in proportion, okay. Things to remember. If A and B are two quantities of the same kind and same units, then the fraction A by B is called the ratio of A to B. 2. Ratio is a number, it has no units. Remember that. A ratio doesn't have any unit. 3. To compare two ratios, we need to convert them into equivalent fractions. 4. The terms of a ratio can be multiplied or divided by the same non-zero number. 5. A proportion is the quality of two given ratios. 6. In a proportion A by B is equals to C by D, product of AD is equals to product of BC. That is, product of extremes is equals to product of means. This is known as cross product rule. 7. The quantities A, B and C are said to be in continued proportion if A by B is equals to B by C, or B square is equals to AC. 8. In continued proportion A, B, C, B is called the mean proportion between A and C is called the third proportion. Okay, students? I hope you have understood this chapter. Now keep doing practice of this chapter.